Deep inside a desert cave, 7 clay jars lay untouched for 2,000 years. Inside lay scrolls that claim our entire modern calendar is off by design. Corbin here. I've stared at Enoch's calendar so long I can recite the star they scrubbed from the sky. Only they forgot the caves. The Book of Enoch reveals a 364-day solar cycle where holy days never shift. If you want to unearth how ancient history was altered, make sure to subscribe to the channel right now. In late 1946, a Bedouin shepherd hurled a stone into a dark cave opening near Qumran. The sound of breaking pottery echoed. He climbed inside, expecting hidden gold. Instead, he pulled out decaying leather bundles wrapped in yellowed linen. Scholars quickly realized these manuscripts predated medieval biblical texts by over 1,000 years. Over 200 biblical texts were uncovered, but the real shock lay in the non-canonical fragments. Among them were multiple copies of the Book of Enoch, long banished by Western churches. These scrolls did not just contain forgotten prophecies. They held complex astronomical tables that completely challenged the calendar used in the Jerusalem temple. The rabbinic calendar relies strictly on the moon's phases, creating a 354-day lunar year. Because 12 lunar months fall 11 days short of the solar year, months naturally drift. To fix this drift, religious authorities had to manually insert leap months every few years. That meant feast days drifted across seasons unless priests adjusted the count by decree. Enoch called this moon tracking system complete spiritual chaos and human deception. According to Enoch, relying on the moon causes believers to celebrate holy days on profane dates. Imagine observing Passover on a day God considers an ordinary workday. That was the exact charge Enochic writers brought against the ruling priests. The moon was viewed as an erratic orb that alters its path and deceives humanity. Only the sun maintained a fixed, unbreakable order ordained directly by heaven. Enoch's solar calendar is built on exactly 364 days, divided into 4 91-day quarters. 91 is perfectly divisible by 7, yielding exactly 13 weeks per season. Because 364 is divisible by 7, every single year begins on the exact same day of the week. New Year's Day always lands on a Wednesday, the 4th day when the sun was created. Passover always falls on a Wednesday. Yom Kippur always lands on a Friday. No feast day ever collides with the Sabbath, eliminating all ritual conflicts. It is a mathematical circuit that never requires human guesswork or priestly decrees. Nature and divine liturgy synchronize into an eternal, unyielding clockwork pattern. There are no leap days added, no human adjustments permitted under any circumstance. To alter a single day was viewed as pulling down the architecture of creation itself. The math is clean, predictable, and totally immune to corrupt political interference. Only, human authorities hated a system they could not control. The authors of the Dead Sea Scrolls were not isolated hermits hiding in the wilderness. They were radical Zadokite priests who abandoned Jerusalem in absolute protest. They believed the high priest in the temple was illegitimate and practicing false calendar rites. They fled to Qumran, calling themselves the Sons of Light, fighting the Sons of Darkness. To them, worshipping on lunar dates was equivalent to worshipping pagan idols. They maintained strict community discipline, washing daily in stone ritual baths. Every single night, 1/3 of the community stayed awake studying the solar scrolls. They copied the Book of Enoch with immense precision to preserve heavenly science. They saw Jerusalem as defiled because sacrifices were offered on wrong days. If you find this historical clash fascinating, hit the subscribe button right now to stay connected. They preferred exile in caves over compromising 1 second of solar time. Section 4 of 1st Enoch is called the Astronomical Book, or Book of Luminaries. Enoch claims he did not calculate these paths. They were revealed by the archangel Uriel. Uriel guided Enoch through the heavenly portals, showing him the solar gates. The text details the exact ratio of daylight to night across every month of the year. It notes how daylight expands part by part as the sun passes through 6 eastern gates. These astronomical chapters are filled with raw mathematical ratios, not vague metaphors. Uriel showed Enoch the laws governing sun, moon, stars, and heavenly chariots. The text explicitly dictates that the sun's path is fixed forever by divine oath. No priest or king possesses authority to alter what the angels recorded. Yet when church canons were assembled centuries later, Uriel's guide was erased. Religious authorities claimed the text was too apocalyptic and astronomically bizarre. In reality, it proved that early believers used a completely different calendar grid. If you are enjoying this breakdown, leave a like on the video so more people can discover this. The Book of Luminaries stands as a manual of cosmic order that Rome could not tolerate. To complete 364 days, Enoch adds 4 special days called intercalary markers. These 4 days belong to no month. They serve as season signposts. One day is placed at the spring equinox, summer solstice, autumn equinox, and winter solstice. They divide the year into 4 precise 90-day quarters, plus 1 memorial day each. Enoch notes that humans constantly forget these 4 days, throwing off all counts. When people ignore these solar markers, the entire calendar collapses into error. Angels are assigned to guard these 4 portal days so creation stays aligned. Without these 4 pillars, months slip and holy feasts are celebrated in darkness. The intercalary days are the glue holding Enoch's 364-day perfection together. Enoch describes 6 solar gates on the eastern horizon and 6 on the western horizon. The sun rises through a specific gate for 30 days, then moves to the next gate. This horizon astronomy allowed ancient watchers to track seasons without modern telescopes. By watching which mountain gap aligned with sunrise, they knew the exact solar day. It was a visual grid built directly into the local landscape around Jerusalem. The moon also passes through these gates, but its movement is erratic and out of step. Enoch highlights how the sun never strays from its assigned portal order. This gate architecture is detailed across 12 full chapters in the Book of Enoch. It demonstrates that ancient Jewish sectarian thought was deeply anchored in observational astronomy. They were not guessing. They were mapping horizon geometry with absolute rigor. Yet when Jerusalem fell to Hellenistic influences, this horizon solar science was buried. To hold a fixed 364-day year together, the ancient priesthood relied on 24 sacred divisions. Each family of priests served exactly 1 week in the temple, rotating in absolute celestial symmetry. Because 364 is divisible by 7, every priest always served on the exact same dates each year. Gamul's division always started on the first day of the first month. No exceptions, no drift. After 6 full years, the cycle rotated exactly 82 times, returning perfectly to point 0. A mechanical clockwork in the sky, ensuring ritual purity without human guesswork. Only, when you force a lunar calendar onto this system, the entire rotation crumbles. Under a moon cycle, priests would serve on different holy days every single year. To the Zadokite priests who authored Enoch, this was absolute sacrilege. If you enjoy uncovering these hidden temple secrets, subscribe to the channel right now. So how did Israel lose this perfect solar grid? Politics and foreign empire. When Alexander the Great swept across the Levant, Seleucid rulers imposed Greek administrative time. The Seleucid Empire ran on a lunar-solar hybrid calendar, aligned with the Babylonian moon cycle. Jerusalem was forced to align its taxation and civic markets with foreign Greek overlords. You cannot collect imperial tribute when your holy days fall on different days than the empires. Drop a like on this video if you see how money shaped ancient religion. Gradually, compromised priests in Jerusalem accepted the moon to keep trade flowing. They added leap months haphazardly whenever crops ripened late or emperors requested it. Enoch's followers saw this as selling out the cosmos for political convenience. I made a video here on my channel about how Enoch's celestial gates were buried by empire. The moon calendar wasn't spiritual enlightenment, it was commercial submission. The traditional calendar was tossed aside to appease Antiochus Epiphanes, and that betrayal sparked an outright civil war in Judea. When the Maccabean revolt erupted, the traditional Zadokite high priests expected to regain control. Instead, the victorious Hasmonean family seized the high priesthood for themselves. They weren't of the proper Zadokite lineage, yet they claimed divine authority. To consolidate power, the Hasmoneans officially adopted the lunar calendar in the temple. The legitimate high priest, known in Qumran scrolls as the teacher of righteousness, fled. He gathered his loyal followers and marched out into the Judean desert. They built Qumran not as a monastery, but as a temple in exile, waiting for judgment. They took the true Book of Enoch and its solar calendar with them. From that moment, Jerusalem celebrated Passover on one day and Qumran on another. Two rival religious worlds operating on entirely different timelines in the same land. Hit that subscribe button if you want more hidden history uncovered. The temple wasn't destroyed by Rome first. Its calendar was corrupted long before. The Book of Jubilees locked Enoch's solar math into an absolute cosmic countdown. Time was divided into 7-year weeks, leading to 49-year Jubilee cycles. Under this 364-day system, exact Jubilee years aligned perfectly without a single day lost. It wasn't just about counting days, it was an apocalyptic timer for divine history. Every major biblical event, from creation to the Exodus, fell on exact Jubilee markers. Messianic redemption was mathematically calculated to trigger at the end of the 10th Jubilee. If you alter the calendar, you wreck God's cosmic clockwork. You miss the divine appointments and disrupt the prophetic countdown. That's why the Qumran community viewed calendar changes as an act of cosmic war. If you've ever wondered how ancient sects calculated end-time dates, comment Jubilee below. To Jubilees, living on a moon calendar meant living out of step with God. The Book of Enoch includes devastating curses against anyone who tampers with time. Chapter 80 states that sinners will err concerning the days, missing the feast days completely. They will alter the seasonal gates and worship the moon as their master. The author didn't consider this a minor theological disagreement. It was classified as full apostasy, the work of the corrupt watchers. If you observe Passover on the wrong day, your sacrifice is unclean. If you celebrate Yom Kippur on a lunar offset, you break covenant entirely. The Dead Sea Scrolls call the Jerusalem priests blind rulers of darkness for using the moon. The entire sect withdrew to the desert to keep their hands clean of calendar sin. Changing the dates wasn't progress, it was spiritual high treason. Now, modern scholars point out a glaring mathematical problem in Enoch's model. A true solar year isn't 364 days. It's approximately 365.24 days. That leaves a 1.24-day gap every single year between Enoch's grid and the sun. Over 25 years, that drift accumulates to nearly a month. So how did Qumran fix this missing time without ruining their mathematical perfection? Some scholars argue they inserted an intercalary week every 28 years. Others believe they considered 364 days sacred, regardless of physical solar drift. To them, the mathematical harmony of 364 trumped astronomical observation. Divine symmetry mattered more than quarter-day fractions. Or maybe Uriel's angels revealed secret correction days unknown to outside priests. Either way, Enoch prioritized divine structural order over raw physical drift. The gap remains one of ancient astronomy's greatest unresolved mysteries. Because Qumran relied so heavily on the sun, rival priests accused them of pagan heresy. Jerusalem critics claimed Enoch's solar focus mirrored Egyptian and Persian sun worship. They pointed to Essenian morning prayers directed toward the rising sun as proof. An American biracial woman in her 30s with curly black hair, wearing a denim jacket, speaks into a podcast microphone by a window. They didn't worship the sun, they honored the law that governed the sun's path. To Enoch, the sun was merely an obedient servant, following Uriel's exact gates. The moon was erratic and changing, the sun was faithful and unyielding. Calling Enoch pagan was a smear campaign to protect the temple's new lunar calendar. It delegitimized Qumran's calendar by turning mathematical science into suspected idolatry. A classic political tactic: label your opponent's original orthodoxy as foreign heresy. And that smear campaign successfully buried Enoch's solar calendar for centuries. In 325 AD, Emperor Constantine called the Council of Nicaea to fix a growing crisis inside the empire. Christian factions were arguing over when to celebrate Easter, causing public uproar in major cities. Some churches relied on Jewish lunar computations, while others used local Julian solar dates. The council wanted total uniformity across all Roman provinces. They decided Easter must fall on the first Sunday after the first full moon, following the vernal equinox. By tying the most sacred holy day to the lunar cycle, they officially abandoned Enoch's fixed solar calendar. Rome wanted a system that shifted every year, keeping ecclesiastical power strictly in central hands. Enoch's 364-day cycle was predictable, independent of papal or imperial decrees. And predictable calendars don't require centralized enforcement. So Nicaea didn't just fix a holiday date, it cut the ancient solar grid out of official doctrine. Anyone who still kept the Enochic solar feast days was labeled a schismatic. The split between church orthodoxy and sectarian solar tradition was sealed forever. The moon became the official keeper of Christian sacred time. Only, the original Enochic texts didn't just fade away naturally. They were systematically purged. Before Nicaea, early church fathers, like Clement of Alexandria, quoted Enoch as authentic scripture. The Epistle of Jude in the New Testament directly cites Enoch's prophecies. Yet by the 4th century, church authorities began dropping Enoch from biblical canons. Jerome and Augustine both questioned its authority, calling its astronomical visions too bizarre. The real problem wasn't the angels or giants. It was the solar calendar inside the Book of Luminaries. If Enoch was scripture, then the church's lunar Easter calculation was dead wrong. To preserve theological authority, the book had to be declared apocryphal and destroyed. Copies in Greek and Aramaic vanished from European monasteries almost overnight. If you see how easily institutions erase inconvenient texts, comment "erased" below. For over 1,000 years, scholars in the West believed the Book of Enoch was lost to history. It became a ghost text, mentioned by ancient writers, but impossible to read. Church councils assumed they had wiped Enoch's solar calendar clean off the earth. Only, Rome didn't control the entire Christian world. High in the mountains of East Africa, the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church operated beyond Roman reach. They never accepted Rome's imperial decrees or council bans. Instead, Ethiopian scribes translated the Book of Enoch into Ge'ez, their sacred language. They preserved all 82 chapters of the Book of Luminaries intact. While Europe forgot Enoch, Ethiopian monks copied the text generation after generation. In 1773, explorer James Bruce brought 3 complete Ge'ez manuscripts back to Europe. Western scholars were stunned to discover the lost astronomical solar calendar was completely intact. Critical academics initially claimed the Ethiopian text was a late medieval invention. They argued no ancient Palestinian Jews ever followed such a solar mathematical system, until a shepherd boy threw a stone into a desert cave in 1947. Inside Cave 4 at Qumran, archaeologists uncovered thousands of manuscript fragments. Among them were fragments cataloged as 4Q218 through 4Q2111. These were Aramaic copies of the Book of Luminaries, dating back to 200 BC. They matched the Ge'ez manuscripts preserved in Ethiopia almost word for word. This was the smoking gun. Enoch's solar calendar wasn't a medieval myth. It was an authentic pre-Christian text, actively practiced by Second Temple priests. The Qumran scrolls also contain detailed calendar rosters like 4Q320 and 4Q321. These documents mapped out exact dates for priestly temple rotations using the 364-day solar cycle. They proved the Qumran community lived strictly by Enoch's sun gates. They celebrated Passover, Shavuot, and Yom Kippur on fixed solar days every single year. While Jerusalem priests used the moon, Qumran kept holy days on a fixed solar grid. The scrolls proved Enoch's astronomy was not just theoretical algebra. It was lived theology, and the architecture at Qumran proved it physically. If you find this archaeological evidence compelling, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more. Archaeologists measuring the main building complex at Qumran noticed a bizarre architectural detail. The central axis of the community room is oriented precisely 9 degrees north of east. This alignment matches the exact sunrise position on the spring and autumn equinoxes. On equinox morning, sunlight cuts straight down the central corridor of the site. It turns the entire Qumran settlement into a massive, functional solar observatory. The Essenes didn't need calendars on paper. Their very buildings tracked the sun gates. This physical alignment confirms what the scrolls described in text. They calibrated their sacred year by solar horizon points, exactly as Uriel instructed Enoch. No lunar phase could ever alter the solar geometry built into their stone walls, which leaves modern theology facing an uncomfortable dilemma. If the original biblical calendar was solar, then every major holy day has been celebrated on wrong dates. Feasts observed by modern traditions follow a lunar calculation established long after Enoch. It means the sacred timing that patriarchs believed governed heaven was lost to institutional politics. The Book of Enoch exposes how human authorities redefine divine order for control. By replacing 364 solar days with variable lunar months, religious leaders controlled the dates. They shifted holy days from immutable astronomical laws into humanly managed events. The Dead Sea Scrolls didn't just uncover old manuscripts. They restored an erased system of time that directly contradicts centuries of dogma. Enoch's solar grid remains written in stone at Qumran and preserved in the Ge'ez texts. If you watched all the way to the end, comment solar to show you finished the full story. Also, check out another video on this channel exploring forbidden texts and hidden ancient history. The sun still rises in Enoch's solar gates, whether the church admits it or not. Hiding Enoch's solar calendar wasn't an innocent clerical update. It was a complete rewrite of divine timing. When authority controls the calendar, it dictates when you pray, when you fast, and when you assemble. The Dead Sea Scrolls proved that an entire priest class chose exile in the desert over accepting a corrupted lunar year. They buried their mathematical truth in earthenware jars, trusting that time itself would eventually dig it back up. If you made it this far into the secret history of erased time, leave a comment with the word sunset below. Subscribe to the channel right now if you want to keep unraveling forbidden ancient manuscripts with me. Did Rome truly lose the solar cycle, or did they deliberately bury the sky's original clock to protect institutional power? And right here on my channel, I have a video about how we rebuilt the instrument that proved Enoch's solar gates. Check it out. The scroll remains opened, the 364 days stand unbroken, and the truth of Enoch's sky is finally back out in the light.